Hey John, got some great news. We've got a sponsor.
Have we?
Big thanks to the guys at Viking Covers for coming on board and supporting My Dad's Car podcast. Please check them out at vikingcovers.co.uk if you're looking for indoor or outdoor car covers. You'll be hearing a lot more from them soon, but for now, here's the episode.
Welcome to My Dad's Car. Enjoy!
Welcome to My Dad's Car, a podcast discussing our personal relationship with automotive nostalgia. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be about your dad's car. It can be your mum's, your gran's, your parents', guardians, or even a neighbour's. If it made an impression, let's talk about it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. How you doing, Ian? All right?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, we're good, thank you.
Good day to you both. Nice to meet you, Ian. I'm John.
How you doing, all right?
How's it going? Yeah, good, thanks. Not too bad.
Super duper. So, yeah, for the benefit of the tape, we're joined by Ian Cook, who's probably best known as Pop Bang Colour. And you're an artist and you draw pictures with little cars. It's probably a quick way to sum it up without doing it any discredit.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the most simple way. One sentence way of describing it, yeah. Or just like, I paint with cars.
Yeah.
I've done that with real cars and I've done that predominantly with radio control cars.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I'm not doing that, I do continuous car drawing. So I draw in my little Chevy Spark and I go around the country in that and draw other people's cars in the back of my car. And people continue to be kind of amazed, stroke puzzled that I drive it there. It's not trailered. It is just.
Yeah.
And yes, it's kind of event season, really. So back out again this weekend. And in between that, at the moment, we're pulling a house apart and trying to find a kitchen. and
Oh, yeah, I've seen on Instagram, yeah.
doing adulting stuff. You know, trying to be an adult is, yeah, that's why I paint with cars because it's more fun. You know, real world stuff scares me too much. So.
Yeah, I was racking my brains earlier trying to think. I've been to a fair amount of car shows. It's the first time I saw you. Were you doing any of the shows kind of back in the Max Power era? Would I have seen you at one of those type of things?
It might have been Top Gear Live, potentially, yeah, when I did an event in London. That was like very early days.
Okay.
So it was like 2009, maybe? 8, 9.
Okay. Yeah, if not, maybe I saw you, I don't know, at a Goodwood event or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever spoken, but yeah, I've just kind of known of what you do, and you kind of walk past and you're sort of always busy doing stuff covered in paint.
Yeah.
And having a whale of a time by all accounts and producing some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and I'm very fortunate and, you know, obviously hard work and determination and all that as well, but I've been very fortunate to be able to create a number of events, you know, some of really cool events over the years.
Yeah.
And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy, you know, going to events and creating and being part of people's experiences at these days. And people, you know, come back from it going, oh, I've just seen a guy on his knees covered in paint and I think he was painting with a car, I think. So, yeah, no, that's what I do. I do really enjoy the performance element of it is key to the business.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I have a studio, which I'm here at the moment, yeah, without I'm working, but I'm not very good at being a caged animal in the studio. I'm not very good at kind of being here and not out. I mean, I much prefer being out and about, but I also realise I've got to get work done. So sometimes I've got to be like, right, Ian, get on with it. Get the work done. My wife will be like, what have we got done today? You know, have you got anything done? Not being distracted by anything. Because I'm very good at getting distracted by anything as well.
Yeah. No, fair enough. So, yeah, we'll jump in. What's your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory? My parents will always say that they remember me being in the back of the car and I was able to name the cars from the rear light clusters on a motorway on the way home.
Yeah.
And they were just like, how did you even know that, Ian? I'm like, I just do. Like, visually, I'm really good at cars. You know, which helps my job, obviously. Mechanically, I'm terrible. Like, I wouldn't know how to fix. You know, that's why I have mechanic friends, and I'm not building my Chevette, but you know, I have people who do that. Yeah, it's a bit like finding a kitchen fitter, an electrician. Like, I can't do that, but I'll find somebody who can.
Yeah.
So I've always been into it. Like, cars has always been my passion. I wasn't into football or rugby. Yeah, being from Birmingham, you know, growing up, either you're a Villa fan or a Blues fan, I was like, no thanks. Like, I just always like West Brom or Walsall or whatever. I was like, nah. And I just wasn't into football.
Fair enough.
So being massively into F1, you know, growing up, you know, with V10, V12 era, and then also Super Tourers and watching the, you know, Mondeos and Volvos and that era of touring car. I remember getting to Donington Park and our window falling out of my mum's car.
Right.
So I remember going to watch touring car, and my mum had to stay in the car because the window had just gone into the car.
We'll come to that later then.
But also, I grew up with my uncle being a designer at what was then Rover.
Oh, wow.
So when I was a kid, like, my uncle was a bit of a hero. My granddad was my hero, but my uncle worked for JLR, or Rover Group. So we all grew up with various Rover Group cars.
Okay.
So we definitely had 2 Maestros. We had a blue one and a bronze one.
Nice.
We had Metros, one of which was definitely stolen from my I had parents eating with my mum. We came back out to the car park and the car was gone.
Wow.
I remember the caretaker going, did you definitely drive your car here? My mum was like, yes, my car was here. And that was found burnt out in a park a couple of miles down the road.
Okay.
She was really upset. I remember being really upset because all her school stuff was in the back. All her stuff that she had for teaching was in the back of the car.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so Metro story, not so great.
No.
But yeah, no, it was definitely growing up with that kind of automotive link of my uncle, who was a car designer. I remember him having a Rover, either 600 or 75. It might be an early 75 or 600. And he had designed the wheels that it was on.
Okay.
And I just thought that was like the coolest thing ever. Like, he'd drawn them and then it became the wheels on his car. And I wanted to be a car designer when I was a kid. And that's what I wanted to do. And I did a week's work experience with my uncle, which was at Rover back then. And after that week, I was like, maybe car design isn't my thing. But it was a cool experience. And I went round the test track, or what is now JLR test track. I went around that in a Rover BRM. So that's with the orange grille.
Yeah.
We were flying around that in a BRM. And my uncle pulled up and he was like, oh, here's the new Mini. Like, before it was even come out, he was like,
wow,
this is a new Mini, with the big clock in the middle of it. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I saw loads of stuff that week, which I couldn't talk about because I was under NDA. So when you were at school, you had to write a diary about your work experience. And I couldn't really write much, which is great because I hate writing. So it was like, I did this, but I can't talk about it. But yeah, no, it's cool. So the cars have always been part of my kind of growing up. I had Barago and I had Scalextric. I remember having a Scalextric set in my bedroom as a kid, set up, and I had it like with all the fastest lap times, and I'd literally write down the lap times and have a little, of the fastest laps, and then I'd change the cars accordingly on the shelf of how fast they'd gone. And it would be like, how fast can I? And I had SCX, Ninko, all these other brands of slot car that I had as well. Well, my uncle, who owned the Chevette originally, he always used to buy me a Scalextric car or a slot car for Christmas. So there's a place called Bob's Models in Shirley in Solihull. It's not there now, but it was like, that was my Christmas treat, was going to Bob's Models and picking the Scalextric car that I wanted that year. Even though I knew what I was getting, my uncle would then wrap it up and then deliver it on Christmas, all wrapped up. Even though I knew I'd chosen it, I know what it was. But it was still really special to open up this new Scalextric car.
I actually found all my old Scalextric cars recently in a major shed demolition job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I should have taken some photos, really. But
Have you rescued them?
I put them in the loft. Yeah. There's some decent ones there. I had the Audi Quattro Rally.
Yeah.
BMW M1, Capri.
Nice.
Some Minis that looked like they'd been hit with tins of paint.
Humbrol accident.
Yeah, that's what it was, I think. Matte finish or something like that.
Yeah, so let's take you back to car spotting in the back of your parents' cars. So what were they driving? What's the first car you remember your folks having?
Metro. Yeah, it was a Metro.
Okay.
Because my uncle, because he's quite high up at Rover, so he was able to have this is probably why Rover made no money and went under, because
they gave them all away.
All the employees generally had an obscene amount of cars in their scheme. I think my uncle could have 7.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. My uncle had one. His wife had one. My mum had one. My dad had one. My granddad had one. Gran had one.
That's insane.
It was, and they were all on the scheme of being part of Rover Group. So definitely the Metro when we were much younger.
What colour was that?
It was a red one.
Nice.
My uncle had the MG Turbo. He had the Turbo.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, he was high up at Rover, so he always had... There's a picture of my parents, Uncle Paul, Auntie Jan, and my granny and grand at Clee Hill at my granddad's house, and all the Metros all lined up. Whether that was all broken down, I don't know, but yeah, they were definitely all lined up together.
Were you an only child, or did you have siblings?
I've got a brother. We've got an older brother as well.
So you were 4 up in a Metro. That was the...
Well, I think that's why we got the Maestro. and we had a blue Maestro, and then we had a bronze Maestro as well.
Saloon or estate?
Maestros were hatches, weren't they? Montego was the estate and saloon.
Right, of course. Yeah.
The hatch, yeah, it was a hatch. Yeah, the boxy kind of ugly. I don't know, ugly. Is it pretty now? It's weird, isn't it? Like cars of that era, you kind of look at them now and go, oh, actually, look all right.
Not so bad.
Yeah, not so bad now. Now you don't see them very often. Yeah, I saw a Rover 200 yesterday, and I was like, oh, you don't see those very often. Looks all right.
Probably your uncle's.
yeah, probably. Yeah, probably still got them around somewhere. 7 cars lying around somewhere. Yeah. So Metro Maestro. We had Rover 200, which my dad still like. He still really liked that car. He still talks about it now, like, oh, the Rover 200 was a good one. That was. I was like, was it? was it really? So yeah, we had a green one of them. We had a 200. But it was a 2-door. I remember like having to get in the back, like pull the seats forward to get in the back.
Yeah.
And then when the Rover scheme ended, when it was bought a Ford, we then went into Ford. So my mum had like, we had a KA. We had a KA for a bit as well. That was my mum's car. Then she went on to Fiestas after that. And then my dad always had a slightly older car. And then when I learned to drive, my granddad thought it was a great idea to get a Volvo 440, which was 300 quid from somewhere.
Oh, right.
My granddad's car choices were pretty bad. He was trying to really help, but generally his car choices were not the best. So he got this £300 Volvo from somewhere in Shropshire, and that's what I learned to drive in.
Okay.
One thing I remember is, because I learned to drive quite late. I didn't learn to drive until I was 25.
Okay.
So I had a micro scooter, so I just got to work on a scooter, so I didn't really think, as much as I was obsessed with cars and I loved cars and whatever, I didn't feel the need to actually learn to try. So after university I did, like, because at uni there was no car parking space, couldn't afford it. I had a little micro scooter that I bobbed around on, hence why I've got really massive calf muscles, because my calf muscles are just like, because I was always on a scooter everywhere.
Aside from your uncle, was anyone else kind of into cars as such in your family, or were they just literally, it was just an A to B vehicle for your parents or for your grandparents?
Yeah, no, there certainly wasn't an influence around me particularly that, like, my parents, my mum's not really into it, my dad's not into it. It was more like my uncle and the car design, and and I think my parents lived in Solihull, or do live in Solihull, and obviously at home in Land Rover. So yeah, it's always been, I think, being from the Midlands, what was then Longbridge and Solihull factory, and it's around you as a thing. Mm-hmm. Your friend's dad might work at the Rover, what they used to call at the Rover. He used to work at the Rover or whatever. So I just liked it. I just really enjoyed the passion for it, and like I say, with the Scalextrics and the collecting Barago and whatever.
Yeah,
I think if you're into it, you're into it. There's no rhyme or reason, but if you're really into these things with wheels, and I am, and that's my passion for it.
Yeah.
And I think what I really like about it now is it just brings people together from different. You can go to a supercar thing, you can go to a classic car thing, and it's all these different communities of people that kind of are drawn together with a passion for something that you may not be able to describe. If I don't know, if somebody said to me about, I'm really into football, I was like, I don't know why you would be. At the same time, like, having more recently in later life, as they say, getting into running, like, I get it. Like, I get the passion for that. And it does the same thing about bringing people together. And you don't necessarily have to be really fast or good at it, but if you enjoy it as a group of people, actually, it's that you can have different levels of it, but also you could just enjoy it as an activity. For me now is I'm part of something that I feel is like an extended family almost. So
yeah. As a kid, were you kind of aware of any sort of social status or whatever from vehicles? Did you have any consideration of whether or not the cars you were travelling in were good or not good, or whether kind of friends at schools had aspirational vehicles that you kind of thought, I wish we had one of those ones rather than one of these?
I wouldn't say, like, I don't know. We certainly didn't grow up, wealthy or like in a state where we were around Range Rovers or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I learned a lot more about it when I was going through university, and like, because I wrote my dissertation on Land Rovers and how they feature in films. And part of that was the stature of the different types of vehicle as well. So you had like Defender, Range Rover, whatever, and the kind of characters they were portraying. So I learned a lot about that in that kind of, when I was doing my dissertation, because I watched a lot of films to see how that worked. And also, it was really interesting that, Defender was seen as like, you're exploring and you're going to go and save something, or, it's in the countryside or whatever. Discovery was much more like kind of middle class, family, generally out in America, because they're promoting it as a vehicle that could be sold in America because Defender couldn't. And then Range Rover was always like bad guy, or like, look at that in the kind of the Bond series as well. So I never really thought about like the cars that we were in were like, they were just more like workhorses. Like it was just, if mum and dad could afford the next, I remember the one Maestro was nicer than the other. The blue one was a Bogo standard one, and the bronze one was slightly better spec.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like really nice. It was just a bit nice. I think it had a colour coordinated grille on the front. There was something a bit different about the bronze one. It had a sparkly paint. Yeah. We lived in Solihull, but we actually bordered more Birmingham. We weren't in like the posh bit, yeah. And we had to work for everything. Like maybe I have that work ethic now, is that we had to work for it. Like it wasn't going to be on your plate, or I couldn't just go, right. Yeah, as soon as I could work at a job, I went and worked at Argos, and got a Saturday job so that I could afford to buy things. But yeah, I don't really remember that kind of like status symbol growing up as such. But I think it's because we didn't live in a particularly well-off area.
Yeah,
my mum and dad both went out to work, and when they wanted a holiday, we were shipped over to our grandparents, over in Ludlow, and that was my granddad, and Uncle Phil is my granddad's brother who owned the Chevette.
Okay.
So when we weren't at home as such, we were over at grandparents, and I think my granddad also was very much a worker. Like he worked in a hardware store, but he was also really popular in the community, really, really community-led person. But as I say, he had generally quite a terrible choice of cars. One of the latter ones he had was a Swift. He had the Suzuki Swift kind of hatchbacky version. That was one of the ones he had towards the end.
Have you got any memorable journeys, Ian? I know you mentioned going away to your grandparents for holidays, but any other sort of trips that you would take maybe annually? Other than school run, that sort of thing.
I do remember the metros being taken down to France.
Oh, right.
So we went down to Dordogne.
Oh, Christ.
With my gran and granddad, me and mum. Me and my brother couldn't be kept in the same car. We were bad. Like, we were bad with each other. I mean, it's still bad now, like, thinking about it. Like, we'd wind each other up quite quickly. If we sat in our car, we'd wind each other up. Like, I knew how to trigger my brother really, really quickly. And for some reason, remember the old lap belts?
Yeah.
They were like just across your waist. They weren't like the full safety ones now. It was really bad. I remember for some reason I thought it was really good to flick that lap belt at my brother and hit him in the lip.
The buckle.
Instant, like it exploded. Lip just exploded.
Oh,
and I know I feel terrible without doing it now, but for some reason I was like, oh. But yeah, so we couldn't be in the same car together, so we had to be separated. So my brother was in with my grandparents, and I was in with mum and dad. And we were going down to the Dordogne, and all of a sudden, my gran jumped out the car in front because she was convinced that we were going the wrong way. And so she got out. She was like, "Richard, we're going the wrong way. Look, I'm looking at because this was maps. This wasn't sat nav. This was old school kind of maps." And it turns out Gran was following the river, not the road. We were like, oh man, we're like, Sylvia, get back in the car. Like, just get on with it. So I remember that trip as well, because my granddad caught the shingles as well.
Oh no.
So like we got down there, and then it was like chickenpox for adults is bad in an older person. And he caught the shingles. I just remember this whole journey down to the Dordogne was just littered with like things that went wrong. I remember we had a massive storm out there as well. We're getting down to this beautiful part of France, and it was just a horrendous storm. We popped to Mont Saint Michel, which is like St Michael's Mount, but the French version. And my brother was wearing a rucksack, and he managed to like swing round and cleared the shelf of all the souvenirs that were there, and they all shattered instantly. And his French, shop assistant was quickly kind of scooping them all up into a bag and then making my parents pay for it. Like, this shattered, like, all these souvenirs that were broken into many, many pieces.
Sounds like a Mr. Bean sort of film, this does, doesn't it?
Oh, it was definitely a memorable journey. I think it was like one of the one times that we went abroad.
Sounds like it would put you off.
Yeah.
Well, I think everything else from there on was like Isle of Wight, Isle of Wight, Lake District, Peak District.
Yeah.
We didn't really go away on like any kind of broady holidays after that. Yeah, France was probably as exotic as it got.
Yeah.
And then it was the Isle of Wight a lot when we were kids. Mainly because my mum really likes boat journeys. So I think the boat journey was like the exciting thing, and it wasn't too far. Like it wasn't a really abroad holiday, but it was nice because there was a boat journey included.
Yeah.
So I remember that. That must have been the Maestro as well.
Nice.
I remember we had not a tent trailer, but we used to tow a little trailer on the back. I think we had a blowout at least once, and then also keys being shut in cars when it was on still and stuff like that. Yeah, standard kind of like where's the keys? Oh, in the ignition. Where's the car? It's locked. Oh, there we are. But my dad worked for Bernardo's when he was younger, so he knew how to break into cars quite well. He'd been taught by some of the kids that he was looking after. So we were able to get back, because back in those days you could kind of put a bit of thing down the window and hoik it up.
Coat hanger, yeah,
that kind of thing. Apparently, packaging tape is the thing to have. But obviously, don't do that, kids. It's not a good thing. Don't break the law.
Would they listen to the radio or have cassettes or anything, or was it a case of just playing I Spy and chatting?
The one real music thing I remember, a bit later on, it was like, I didn't learn to drive until like after uni. But I remember my granddad taking me down to my university interviews. But he'd always have like classic FM on, and it was constantly classic. But I was like, I was kind of a young, an older teen. And I was like, oh, come on, I want to listen to music. And I wanted to like Radio 1 and some like proper music on it. And so I switched it to like Radio 1 at that time or whatever. And then I think Limp Bizkit was like blaring out, like rocking your set like Russian. It was like really quite obviously some bleeps were in there and whatever. And I just remember my granddad just being like, no, that's it. You had your chance, you switched it over, and it's back to classic FM. I was like, yeah, you're right. Okay, no loud music. But it was fun. Yeah, it was kind of nice to have these holidays of that era. Of like, it was exciting to go to Lake District. But because my mum, she also really likes to go to the same places. So if it's a place she likes, she'd be like, we'll go back there again. So I remember we definitely went back to the same campsite because she liked it, and we knew that the food was there. But I was also a really fussy eater, so like I didn't eat a lot of stuff. Like baked potato was my stat. Like that was my safe food. Like if the pub had that, then we'd eat there, and it annoyed my brother immensely. Like him being so annoyed that so many times that we went to different pubs and he couldn't have what was on the menu because Ian wouldn't eat it. It's probably why he didn't like me, but he probably doesn't like me very much. It's probably going back to those years of not being able to have all the nice food in various pubs. So,
how did the touring cars thing come about? So you mentioned you went to Dorrington, the window fell down. Was your brother interested in cars as well? Was it kind of a family trip that you all went, or? No,
so me and my brother are very much the opposite. I liked anything that he didn't.
Oh, right.
Like I say, we couldn't even be in the same car. Sometimes we were that bad. We just had to be separated. He likes history and that kind of thing. And cars was like the opposite of it. So, and my dad quite liked it that we had these two different interests, that he could be into history and Romans and whatever, and I could be into motorsport and cars. And from Birmingham, where we lived, I think Donington was probably the most accessible track. What I do remember from that day as well as the window falling out, I decided that I'd try motorbiking for the first time, having never shown any interest in two wheels at all.
Okay.
I thought, I'm going to jump on a motorbike. And they had this I imagine health and safety has killed it now, but it was this ride-on motorbike that had like the inflatable barriers that are around.
Yeah, I went on similar as a kid.
Yeah, so I kind of jumped on this motorbike having no. I guess the person would have been like, "Oh, you know how this works?" I'd be like, "Yes, I know how this works. It's fine." So I jumped on it and I just went full pelt, like, yes, go. Yeah, you can imagine. Yeah, straight into the barrier. And then also the bike then landed on my leg and then taking a load of skin off my leg.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it was a really kind of grazy, painful kind of like, you don't want to get any grit in that out of dusty Donington. And then I guess my dad then taking me back to my mum, who was sat in the car because it didn't have the window in it.
Yeah.
going, yeah, Ian's hurt himself. Yeah, this is a great day. We haven't got a window in the car, and Ian's now got a big graze on his leg.
Sounds like a job for Savlon, that.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely one of those.
Slap that on. Yeah.
But no, I think it was just because that era was like, it was on Grandstand and BBC One, so it was motorsport that was when F1 was on, and it'd be F1 and touring car, and I just wanted to go and watch the likes of Tarquini and Wilkenhawk and those proper.
Well, even Mansell dipped his toe in, didn't he, at one point, mid-90s? Tiff Nadell.
Yeah, Mansell was. I don't know whether it was that
a bit later. I think 90. I want to say 96, 97, I think.
I don't remember it being that when he had that big off at Donny. I don't know whether it was that particular race, but I do remember it did rain because we had the passenger window. I think we had to get it fixed when we got home. It had gone definitely into the door.
And fancy keeping it as like a Dukes of Hazzard style entry point.
yeah. But yeah, my mum wasn't very impressed because she couldn't go anywhere for the day. I imagine my brother was quite bored because he wasn't really into cars. So I imagine he was kind of dragged there and he was like, ugh.
Yeah.
He reads a lot of books, though. I imagine he just read a book and just wasn't really bothered about anything else.
It's probably the sort of event nowadays, if you went, there'd be quite a lot of stuff to do, wouldn't there? Even if you weren't into motorsport. If you go to any event, there's just loads of stuff. Whereas back in the day, I suppose it would have just been food stalls, maybe, and watch the action.
Yeah. I mean, a lot more events now are just, it's entertainment as soon as there's not racing on track. Whether it's an air show or stunt bikes and all that. There's always something else that's going on.
Yeah, it's true.
Or you can go and watch an artist paint or draw. I mean, that's always an option.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can always go, buy some merch from him. He's a nice guy. You definitely need to buy some merch. So
I remember those motorbikes. We used to go see my dad, and we'd go to like this big boot fair. And there'd be like the big sort of inflatable bouncy castle type thing, like circuit, if you like, figure of 8 or whatever it was. And they'd put you on 40cc little motorbike with like an open face helmet, and off you'd go. And like you say, you go straight in the barrier, you'd fall over probably, you'd either burn your leg on the exhaust or the chain would get you.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few pictures of it, and you kind of think, what were they doing putting 5-year-olds on motorbikes who had never ridden before in shorts and t-shirt?
It was a different time.
Bring it back.
Yeah, you can have that. It's how we all learnt. Yeah, we learnt by going, don't do that again. That was a bad idea.
Yeah. You mentioned the Chevette that you're working on, and that used to belong to your uncle. What's the story there?
Yeah. Story is that was a financial error for me. Going, yes, I need to keep that because it's a memory and I need that car in my life still, and it shouldn't be scrapped. And my uncle, warned me from the beginning. He was like, I don't want this to financially be a burden on you. And I was like, no, it's fine. No, I'm going to take this car and I'm going to fix it. He said confidently in 2012. And now what is it? Oh, God, it's 2025 and it's still not working.
Is this the uncle who went for Rover and Ford?
No, this is my dad's brother.
Oh, okay.
This is Uncle Phil, who, a bit like me and my brother, like, we never knew why they didn't particularly see eye to eye, but they'd also spend time together. Every Christmas, Uncle Phil would arrive at my granddad's house in that Chevette and with my Christmas presents that I'd already chosen, obviously, in the boot of it. So for me, that car is like such a sentimental thing that I remember arriving on my granddad's driveway at like whatever time at night, because he eventually arrived because he didn't have a sat nav. He was using the old road maps, and if he got into a diversion, he didn't know where he was going.
Followed the river.
Yeah, exactly. That river again. Yeah. So that car basically it got too much for him to keep going. Like the garage that were maintaining it were like, it's really rusty. We've tried to repair it as much as we can, but actually now it's too far gone. We can't keep on trying to fix it.
No.
So he bought a Corsa, and the car was garaged to a point, and then he had some local youths knew about the car and they wanted to take it banger racing. And I was like, no. Because I said to Uncle Phil, like, if you ever get rid of it, I want first dibs.
Yeah.
So he was like, right, well, you've got to come and get it out of the garage and make it your responsibility. So got it out of the garage. I got the V5. It went into storage in various places. It was always like, what do I do with this car that doesn't work? Because it had a fuel leak, so we couldn't use it. And it wasn't roadworthy. And then eventually, after storing it in various places and then it being stored in my flat garage. We pulled it out in 2019 to start the restoration of it.
Cool.
I mean, you don't see many two-door Chevettes from 1978 on the road. And there's good reason for that, because they're all rusty. And they're a financial error to ever try and make good.
A hatch or a coupe?
It's a two-door saloon.
Yeah, lift back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of hatches because a lot of them are rallied, a lot of them race. Yeah, at the same time, because, Ford Mark 1s and stuff are now crazy money. Just to get hold of a shell or a half-decent one, actually, you can get into a Chevette for not a huge amount of money. And certainly you don't have to spend as much money I've spent on mine. But the thing is, we had to take it back to a shell and we had to rebuild it because it was rotten.
Yeah.
We had to do that. If we wanted to rebuild the car, the aim is always rebuild it once properly. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And as and when I can, I pour money into the pit and I get more of the shove it done. But it's still a shove it because it doesn't start. It's still very much a really expensive paperweight. But at the same time, it's a journey. I've learned this, but from recently buying a 1930s house, it's the same problem.
At least you can live in the house. Well, I suppose you could live in the Chevette, couldn't you? But...
Yeah, I don't think my wife would like that. But then she has locked me out of the house twice, and I have slept in the Spark twice. I don't recommend that. The Spark is not a good place to sleep in overnight. She says it was by accident and she couldn't hear me, but the first time I can forgive her. The second time, I think she meant that one.
Yeah.
But we're getting it. I did that at the same time. It's a shell rebuild. We've rebuilt it because a lot of the bodywork needs to be redone. The colour of it isn't the same. It was coming from Starfire, which is metallic brown, but it's now gone to a Saab 9.3 colour, which is a deeper colour. It's got a Mazda MX-5 1.6 engine, so we bought a Mazda for £400. I sold it without the engine and gearbox for £1,200, which is the best. That is the best car buying thing I've ever done.
Good news.
But these things just take time. Like some people's restorations, they can fully do it for a year or 3 years and it gets done quickly, whereas it's a little bit bitty. And when companies come in and support it or supply bits or whatever, we can do the next bit.
Yeah.
When it's not that way, it goes back to my garage like a little naughty school child. I point at it and go, "You're not coming out until we can have a chat again." I mean, hopefully, once the house is settled down and whatever, and if I have a good season of sales and whatnot, then the Chevette will make a reappearance.
We had a chap on, didn't we? His name escapes me. The guy who restored his parents' wedding car, an MG Magnate, wasn't it?
Is it Tom?
Might be. Yes, McClue. Is that his surname? Possibly, yeah. But similar sort of story. Like this car was sat in his parents' garage. He lost his dad, and his mum had it in there for years and years and years. And he decided he was going to restore it. And it was good as kind of bankrupted pretty much. He shouldn't have paid the amount of money he paid on fixing it. But we've said with a number of people, like if you have the opportunity to get the car because you'll never get it again.
Yeah.
And if it means something to you, you'll keep it forever.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if it was any other Chevette that I just found somewhere, it wouldn't have the same history. Like the whole thing for me is that it was the car that I got my Christmas presents out of. So it's going to be something that I will enjoy and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
That's why I've started a new Instagram for it so that I could share some of the history of it, some of the background and some of the, some people don't know it's a shell rebuild, on its side, blasted back and whatever. People haven't seen that. So I thought, even if it's not being done, I can show some of the history of how far we've gone with it so far. That's part of the story, really.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Ian. It's been good fun, some great tales. Before we bid you farewell, where can people find you? Where's the best thing to look you up?
Well, most weekends I'm somewhere at a motoring event in equally a very small Chevrolet Spark that I've had from Chevrolet UK. And I will be in there painting and drawing and creating people's vehicles. It's pop band colour on all of the socials. I dabble with TikTok, but it's, I'm 42 years old. I don't.
You're not dancing in your kitchen.
I haven't got a kitchen.
If it means I can afford a kitchen,
get that tutu on.
I'll absolutely do that dancing if it means I can get a kitchen done. So I might do that later because bits of painted wood are really expensive. They're more expensive than a car.
Indeed, yeah. This is very true. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Been good fun, and hopefully we'll bump into you at some point over the summer. And come and say hello.
Absolutely, I'll be out and about.
Thanks, Ian. Nice to meet you.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye bye. Cool. There we go. That was high tempo, wasn't it? There was a lot of stuff in there.
Was high tempo, yeah. That should be a good edit.
I think there's going to be very little edited. I think it's just going to be a case of just wind him up, watch him go.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I did feel almost rude at points where you kind of just have to interrupt him because you need to sort of just put him back on the path. But equally, kind of, what he's saying is interesting and has kind of got purpose. So I suppose that's the art of interviewing, or not the art, or whatever, that we're sort of learning as we go. But it was good.
Yeah, some good tales, some amusing navigational tales featuring his grandparents.
And driving a Metro de France, even kind of northern France, that's a long old trek.
Yeah, it's the whole. I mean, the mind boggles, doesn't it? Really, when you look back at going abroad pre-mobile phones.
Yeah.
In a Metro. It's just, hats off. There should be sort of retrospective awards, I think, for the parents
who took those things on.
that did that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 1986, you took your family to the south of France using only a France A to Z.
Yeah.
We'd like to reward you.
With some Tiger Points, or whatever they were called, the essays.
Yeah. 6-pack of Kiora, something like that.
A 20 B&H.
Yeah.
So, some interesting tales. Obviously, some Rover-based antics. Yeah, the Chevette with his uncle, and the fact that he's kind of rescuing that. And, like we touched on, we've had a few people who have kind of either wish that they've done that or have sort of picked up that mantle. And it's definitely a burden, isn't it? That connection to those vehicles. Yeah. You've obviously got to see it through and all the time continue with your life, pay for your house, look after your kids. Yeah.
You do wonder if it would just be easier if you've got a partner, if they just dealt with it for you and just got rid without you knowing, and then it's just done, isn't it? It's the financial strain. I mean, obviously it is worth it once you've done it all and you've got the finished article, isn't it? But it's the slogging away. And
it's not like here's my dad's watch. Look after that. You just pop that in the cupboard,
far from it,
No, actually, you've got to rent a garage for however long to keep that car in.
Yeah, it's not like you need to rent a wrist, is it, for the watch or something? It's just...
it's a commitment. But hats off to him if he's going to get it done eventually. Then, one, it saves it, and two, obviously for prosperity and sort of memories and nostalgia and everything. Yeah, it's only going to mean something to him and kind of a very few amount of people. But that's the story.
Maybe some further light shed as well on why Rover went under.
Yeah.
Giving their employees 7 cars to divvy out.
Yeah, if you think back to kind of the days that we were selling wiper blades, like they were pretty tight on giving 15% to kind of anyone by yourself. So
yeah, absolutely.
Rover dishing out Metros left, right and centre for whatever the price was. Then
astonishing.
No wonder there were so many of them on the road. No one paid the full price.
Yeah, couldn't get rid of them. Yeah.
Windows stuck down on Maestros. I drove back from the east end of London with the window stuck down on the Bora.
Did you?
Years ago, yeah.
It's always been a fear of mine that happening.
It didn't rain, but it was blowy as hell. Like, we'd been up to see Connie's dad, went to drive off, popped the window down, kind of the old wave out the window, and it never went up again.
Never came back, yeah.
So, an evening drive home at 70, 80 miles an hour on the M25 with the window stuck down.
Yeah, touch wood, that's never happened to me. But it's something that's always sort of worried me that if it does happen,
what'd you do?
Obviously, it's door card off time, is it? And all that sort of stuff. And
that was a horrible thing. But so thank you very much to Ian from Pop Band Colour. If you're after sort of artwork, then go and look him up at a show, look him up on the internet, buy something cool for your wall.
Absolutely.
If that's not a slogan, then you should have it. Cool. Okie dokie.
All right, Andy. Cheers, mate.
Wrap it up. Roll the credits.
Thank you for listening to My Dad's Car. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please support us. Buy us a coffee and subscribe. And tell all your friends.